Hello, and welcome to the Popular Cruising Video Podcast. I am Jason Leppert, your host, as well as editor of PopularCruising.com, and I'd like to start off this week by saying thank you to all of our subscribers. All of you have gone on to iTunes and subscribed to us. We really appreciate that. It's great to have you here every week, and we really appreciate that. For those of you who haven't subscribed yet, the best way to do so is to go to PopularCruising.com/iTunes. From there, there'll be a link that you can go into the application of iTunes and go ahead and subscribe. And also, you can go ahead and rate and rank the podcast there too. And again, for all of you who have already done so, really appreciate that. This week, we thought we would talk about river cruising, and specifically Viking river cruising. Now, for those of you who have gone on an ocean cruise before, or even haven't, the biggest difference that you're going to notice from ocean cruising to river cruising is certainly the size of the vessel. This is definitely a time where you can call the vessel a boat and not offend anybody, because it really is a riverboat. It's not a ship in this regard, although Viking's newest designs, they do in fact call Viking Longships, and that's sort of because of the heritage of the Norwegian heritage that the company has, and the fact that they name each of the vessels off of a Norse god, a mythological god. And it's really a cool ship that they've designed, and they have 30 of these now. It's amazing. They introduced it first in 2012, and since then they've introduced 30 of these ships. Actually, as of 2015, they're going to even have 40 of them. So really incredible endeavor that the Viking has put out there to have this many of a brand new design. The thing that's great about this design is a number of things. When you're talking about the accommodations on board, the ships hold no more than 200 people. So definitely, like I said, a lot smaller than an ocean-going vessel, especially when you're comparing that to, whether it be the Oasis of the Seas or the Allure of the Seas, when they have, 6,500 people on board. It's quite a staggering difference here. But really, it's a more intimate experience. It's very similar to, I would say, maybe like a luxury cruise liner that way. Like Azamara Club Cruises, it's a more intimate experience with less passengers on board. The focus is definitely more on the destination than it is on board, and that's not to say that what is on board is subpar. By all means, it is fantastic. It's just you don't have all of the amazing attractions like you'd have on board a ocean-going vessel. I would say it could really be for anybody who's interested in the historical destinations of Europe. In regards to the accommodations on board the Viking Longships, they are indeed very comfortable and comparable to what you would have on an ocean-going cruise ship, so you're not limited in size, really. The thing that makes this possible is they have a clever offset corridor, and what that allows for is you have on one side of the ship full-size veranda staterooms, like I said, that are very comparable in size to what you'd have on an ocean-going vessel. Maybe the bathrooms are just a little smaller, but the shower is actually very nice. You have a glass enclosure instead of a shower curtain, so you can be sure that the dimensions of the shower are going to stay put. They're not going to have, a smaller shower with a curtain blowing in on you as you have on in my opinion, you have on far too many cruise ships. So indeed, the bathrooms are very manageable, and the showers are very comfortable. You can move around in them, and that's always a plus in our book. The vessels are very well designed. It's a Scandinavian decor, very light and airy, lighter woods and tones, and it makes for a bright ship, and the accommodations, like I said, are great. On the one side of the ship, you have these large, full-size veranda staterooms, and on the other side of the ship, where it's a little tighter because they've offset the corridor, they have smaller but still very comfortable French balcony staterooms, or also two-room suites that are also available on there, which are great because we were able to have one of those on the Grand European itinerary that the Viking offers, and it was very comfortable, very nice to have a full-size living room in addition to your bedroom and your bathroom space. So that was very nice there. And also in the very back of the ship, you have two Explorer suites that are very comfortable. They're large corner suites, and there's only two of these on board, and they do fill up very quickly. They're usually some of the first to be booked because they are so rare. Very nice indeed. They have 270-degree views of the surroundings, and very spacious. So if that's something that you're interested in, I highly recommend booking those as quickly as possible. Very nice rooms. The staterooms on board are all positioned towards the back of the ship, and in front of that you have the atrium space, which is a great open, airy space. This is where you go ahead and embark and disembark the ship. It's also where the lobby is found. You have a great skylight on top that lets a lot of light in, and forward of that you have your restaurant and your observation lounge on board. And again, the restaurant very nice. You have some very exquisite dining on board. The line Viking says that they are not really as focused on gourmet dining as they are on making the food just very great in quality. And I would honestly say that the food is really, really top notch in my opinion. I would say it's comparable to premium ocean lines like Celebrity Cruises and Holland America Line. The food is very, very good. Colorful in presentation, very tasty, and it's always locally inspired. That's always fantastic. And even during lunch and dinner, house wines and house beers as well as soft drinks are included. So that's a nice benefit too to have on board Viking River Cruises. And that's again in the restaurant, and considering the fact that it's a galley that is very small on board, certainly compared again to ocean liners where the galley space is actually pretty substantial, here on board it's a very small space, and the fact that they crank out 3 entree selections, 4 appetizers every night, and a nice array of desserts is pretty spectacular actually, and we have to commend them for that as being very, very well done. Just upstairs from the restaurant is the observation lounge, and like the restaurant below, you have expansive floor-to-ceiling windows that are always looking out on the wonderful scenery that is to be had on the riverbanks of Europe or anywhere else where Viking sails. And it's always a great place upstairs to relax and take in a cocktail while you are sailing, or in the evening times when they have nice music. Again, on a ship of this size, you can't really have the entertainment like you'd have on a larger ocean cruise ship, but they have great live music from a pianist that's always on board. They even bring on some live entertainment from shoreside on occasion, so you have some of the local entertainers come on, and that's always a nice little touch as well. So it's a great place for that in the evenings. Also, the observation lounge is a space where you can grab breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a more casual setting. You have a Lido type buffet that's just forward of the observation lounge in the Aquavit Terrace, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. And that is a place where you can just, like I said, get lunch maybe in a quicker fashion if you want to go off and tour a little bit more on your own when you're in port. So these are great spaces on board. Just in front of the observation lounge is the aforementioned Aquavit Terrace, which is a fantastic alfresco space, and it's really clever because it's convertible. It can be made to be outside or inside. They have these partitions that can come in, glass partitions that can be enclosed or opened up depending on the weather, and it's really nice because these ships, obviously they have the winter months that they are going to the Christmas markets, which is a fantastic opportunity I'd highly recommend. And in those months, you definitely want to have it be a little warmer so they can enclose that and still have great views because they're glass partitions. But during the summer months, when it's obviously warmer and you can bring the outdoors in a little bit, that is the benefit of this space, and it's very, very nice. Great place you can have, lunch or dinner. I highly recommend taking dinner up there on occasion, especially when you are sailing, because it's quieter up there. A lot of people don't realize they have what are called their bar snacks, and when you think of bar snacks, you think, oh, okay, it's going to be maybe a little less than a full dinner, but in fact, they do serve the different sandwiches and burgers up there, and it's a fantastic alternative to eating downstairs, and I'd highly recommend that. So definitely take advantage of that when you are sailing. It's a great opportunity. Above all of this on board the ship is the sun deck, and this is a great space too. Plenty of shade, a lot of great loungers. You can go out there and take in the scenery again when it's warmer. Obviously, you don't want to be up there when it's too cold, but again, a great space, kind of in lieu of having a full wraparound promenade deck. You have this up there as sort of an observation deck, and can really take in the views that are fantastic as you're sailing, and even when you're in port. And lastly, I would just say that really the destination is the focus of a river cruise. The things on board are very, very nice, but the opportunities to actually get out and tour are excellent. The thing that's great about Viking is they offer a shore excursion in every port that is included. It's a guided excursion, and they are very, very well done. You get to see some of these great destinations in Europe, and no matter where you are, you're never too far away from the points of interest. I would say, like, let's say you're going to Rome on an ocean cruise and you're at the port of Civitavecchia, you're an hour and a half plus to even get into Rome, whereas on a river cruise, you're immediately there. You're always in the heart of these destinations, and that's fantastic because even if you don't feel like taking the guided tour, you can just go ahead and walk and explore on your own. Maybe some of these places you've been to before, and it's just a great opportunity to revisit them and to take it in more relaxing and just explore on your own. That's always a great opportunity. And again, Viking is always in port every day, which is great. You don't have really like a sea day, or in this case, a river day. So you always have something to look at, and in many cases, you are in these ports overnight, or certainly longer than most of the times on an ocean cruise. So great opportunities to be had in Europe or any of the other destinations that Viking sees. Definitely on board the Viking Longships. These are incredible new ships of theirs. So again, thank you for tuning in to the Popular Cruising video podcast. I've been Jason Leppert, your host and editor of popularcruising.com. We again thank all of our subscribers, and if you haven't already subscribed or reviewed or rated our podcast, you can do so by going to popularcruising.com/iTunes. Thanks so much, everybody. Bon voyage.